for some peace of mind, but TikTok said a gator drove a Jeep through the blinds. Florida man's at it again with fireworks and a goat, and someone married a ghost in a Dollar Tree coat. Hey, what in the Walmart rapture is going on? Aliens dancing in a Waffle House song. Karen's got a taser in the checkout line, and Dr. Oz just adopted birds to fight off crime. Oh, I'm just sitting here scrolling, my jaw on the floor. The internet's a circus and I can't take no more. Yeah, when it's wildin', there's a raccoon in the sink. Someone robbed a Wendy's just to steal a frosty drink. A pastor's gone viral yelling about the end is near, while folks ride hoverboards in wedding gear. Yeah, what in the Walmart rapture is this mess? Florida's a movie, but it's filmed in VHS. Someone fed meth to a squirrel named Dave, and now he's in a cage just throwing rave. I'm just...
Good morning, everyone. We have got news back today. Well, but with the probable squirrels that, I normally have. So it's not like we're going to have a, no tangents Monday or whatever day today is, Thursday. Gotta love it. Do news for a living, have no idea what day today is. It's been one of them weeks. However, I'm glad to be back doing the newsy news, because when you get this headline, it is like the Lords of Chaos have gifted you, something from the universe. It really is. Luigi Mangione apparently got beaten up by 7 ladyboys in Thailand just months before the United Healthcare CEO shooting. Which is not a headline I had on my bingo card, but I'm here to read about it. Luigi Mangione apparently was roughed up by a group of ladyboys during a wild night out in Thailand, just months before he allegedly, took the life of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson for having a back that hurts him so much he cannot enjoy regular life. Now, perhaps getting your behind kicked by 7 ladyboys is something that insurance doesn't cover in Thailand. Now, the 27-year-old accused assassin allegedly bragged to his friends over WhatsApp about his raucous nightlife packing through Asia before he returned to the U.S. in July 2024, and allegedly took the life of Thompson that December, according to the New York Times. Getting beat up by ladyboys isn't something I'd really, brag about. Now, in one eyebrow-raising message, Mangione claimed that he had been beaten up by 7 ladyboys, a colloquial term for men who dress up as women in Thailand, in Bangkok, which honestly couldn't have happened to a more ridiculous person. And shared a photo of his battered and scratched arm, according to text reviewed by outlets. Now, the Ivy League-educated tech whiz set off on a solo trip abroad in early 2024, befriending a soccer player, Christian Cencini, and an unidentified companion that apparently was with him during his ladyboy travels. I have no idea. Now, Christian, the soccer player who met Mangione at the Bangkok pub in March, told the publication that the accused, assassin initially talked about video games and Pokemon before veering into a rant about how effed up the U.S. health system was compared to Thailand. Because, when I want, intense policy talks about U.S. healthcare, I go to a pub in Thailand to get my information, as we all do. He couldn't believe it, Christian said of Mangione's shock at the low cost of an MRI in the Southeastern Asian nation. Well, yes. So, now the alleged assassin, who hails from a wealthy family in Maryland, eventually escaped to the lush Mount Omni mountains in Japan, seeking a slower pace and hoping to meditate and do some writing by serene hot springs. So, It's a very duality trip. You've got ladyboy beatdowns and meditation for his soul. I mean, it really is the marriage of yin and yang. All he needs is Mushu from Mulan, and we'd have a Disney movie. Now, fellow travelers, locals, and Mangione's own notes suggest he went from craving human connection at the start of his trip to isolating himself while obsessing over how to make a dramatic statement about injustice over health insurance coverage. He didn't use any digital advice, said Januto Mahari, an owner of a small guest house in Tekanawa, where the University of Pennsylvania graduate stayed for about a week. He was quiet and had only minimal necessary conversations with other guests and maybe didn't talk with anyone. His friends and family said he went off the grid when he returned to San Francisco in July, noting that he stopped responding to messages and had gone silent on his social media months earlier. One August diary, entry notes that he was sleeping poorly, feeling foggy while fixating on how to battle what he felt was injustice. I feel confident about what I'll do, he wrote, the outlet reported. The details are finally coming together, and I don't feel any doubt about whether it's right or / justified. I'm glad in a way that I procrastinated because it's allowed me to learn more about United Healthcare. The target is insurance, and it checks every box. Now, he has pled not guilty to federal and state charges for taking the life of 50-year-old healthcare honcho, basically assassinating him in cold blood outside the insurance giant's annual investor conference in Midtown Manhattan on December 4th, 2024. Now, after the assassination, cops found the words delay, deny, and depose written on shell casings found at the scene. Now, he was arrested in Pennsylvania following a dramatic 5-day manhunt, and federal authorities are seeking the DP against Mangione, and maybe not one he will receive from ladyboys, although death by ladyboy sounds like something I would put in to our penal system. And I demand it be called the penal system. I mean, the death penalty. And, there are people that really are a fan of him. I don't agree with any methods. I've had my share of internal struggles with insurance, but you know what I have never done? Go out and take someone's life. So you are not Rosa Parks. Sit down. You got beat up by ladyboys. Just be quiet, sir. Well, in a fight to see who can be the biggest douche canoe of our recent infamous douche canoes, well, this absolute butt monkey with a Kubrick stare, Brian Koberger is refusing to pay the latest victim's compensation claim as lawyers argue that GoFundMe donations to the family were enough. Yeah, just in case he wanted to be more hated, Brian Koberger decides to go deeper into his sphincter and not pull, a Lemmy-Wink's, cranial rectitis, extraction, but no, go fully out so that he now has to re-enter a Lemmy-Wink cycle. Attorneys for Brian Koberger have requested a judge excuse the convicted killer from paying tens of thousands of dollars to the grieving families of 2 college students that he took the life of and pled guilty to. I just feel like I have to put that out there because you still have, again, look, as I have always said, I love me a good conspiracy theory. I mean, please link this back to, Catillions, and have some documents, and I will listen to whatever. But this is not triple underwater 4D chess. The man pled guilty. I will not, deal with shenanigans. This man pled guilty. He was given restitution, and he's trying to fight it back because people, out of the kindness of their own heart, decided to donate to the families. Just to point out that you could be a more spectacular asshole, he's like, I can do better. He's really going for the holies this year. You know, the group of people, I'm going to make the holies, the biggest douche canoe asshole ever. But he is wrangling to be top sphincter of humanity. Now, Koberger, 30, was previously ordered to pay roughly $290,000 in restitution when he pled guilty to the taking of the lives of Idaho students Kaylee Goncalves, Madison Mogen, Zaina Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin in their off-campus home. Now, prosecutors have slapped the former criminology student with an additional restitution bill requesting that he shell out $2,400 for Goncalves' parents and roughly $7,000 for Mogen's mother to cover their travel expenses, according to court documents obtained by the Post. Now, Koberger's legal team blasted the request for additional funds in a court filing earlier this month. Now, this did land a little bit earlier, and we probably would have covered this yesterday if I hadn't been in full squirrel mode. Mostly because I wanted to be able to actually look at what was going on. And this just seems ultra douche canoey. Now, quote, the additional funds sought do not qualify as economic loss under Idaho Code 19-5304 because Steve and Christy Goncalves, along with Karen Laramie, received extensive funds through multiple GoFundMe campaigns that specifically asked for and covered the expenses sought, Koberger's legal team wrote. Now, his attorneys have also argued that Koberger has no means to pay the restitution now or in future, as he remains behind bars in Idaho maximum prison. I'll take restitution in Levi's. You make me some good denim skirts. We have no issues, sir. I am willing to let you, do everything. And Alice G, yay! I'm glad you're home and, recovering and your kiddos are around you. So I am so glad that that's happening. And boobage. Okay, so we are squirreling out a bit. I am trying to find clothes that are not, baggy, because that's kind of been my general safe space for the last couple years. But now I'm like, holy boobs, Batman, which isn't something that I should be sidetracked about because I've had these boobs all my life. So I should generally know that they're there and have awareness. But now I'm like, boobs. So I can't fault anyone else for noticing it too. That being said, this looks like a total dick move. I do understand what his legal team is saying. And I do understand the sort of logic behind it, but optically this looks about as douche canoey as you can. And optically, Brian Koberger is an optics nightmare. I mean, this face, as I said before I even looked into the trial, this face is deeply unsettling to me. And if you want to lie about the fact that he was deeply unsettling, then, that's fine. And Jed A. Jess is right. Devil's advocate standpoint, his lawyers have to make this motion as part of properly representing him. And I know it rubs wrong and it could run into ethical violations for not doing it. And you're right. Jedi Jess is right. I mean, I don't really blame the lawyers. And I do understand that this is all a part of protecting his stuff. The problem is that even knowing all of that, even having kind of a knowledge of all that, it's still going to look very, very callous, very callow and not good. Not that he has much of a, reputational, I guess, thing to rebuild. That being said, I do see it, and Jedi Jess is right. Now, his attorney we did get to the fact that he could not pay. Now, the filing did reference 3 separate GoFundMe fundraiser for the families, including one campaign for both Mogan and Goncalves that raised $73,493, and another one for Laramie to help Maddie's family attend the Idaho trial that raised $48,815 for travel to the Boise for the hearings. Now, a third fundraiser then also got $85,583 for travel purposes. Given the specific funds sought and obtained for the expenses to travel to Boise, the request should be denied because neither family suffered an economic loss for that which the state seeks reimbursement. So I do get the legal reasoning behind it, but it's optically going to just, again, look like rubbing salt into an open wound. Now, maybe this was more of a symbolic thing for the state. Logically, we know almost every time there's restitution added or court costs that logically these people will not be able to pay this because they're going to be in prison. That being said, I think he should have to get, a job in prison and, pay back whatever he can. That being said, it does look like a restitution hearing is scheduled for November 5th. So I will try to be doing that live because we need to hear both sides. And I'm trying to get back on the Brian thing since I'm feeling a little better. But definitely it will be one to watch because I understand both sides. I just think it's going to look terrifying. Now, just in case, this is a terrible, terrible idea. A brand new TikTok homeless man prank has been branded dangerous and is leading to arrest. Well, nearly everything that emerges from TikTok is somewhat dangerous and should be, leading to arrest. A viral TikTok trend known as the AI homeless man prank is spurring potential panic and prompting police response across the country. Now, basically what happens is users create AI-altered images showing a homeless man inside their home. Now, in one video with more than 2 million views, a distraught mother told her son to let them eat and let them go after he texted her with several fake images of a homeless person inside their house. "This is madness. What is this?" the mother said in a voice message. Now, the user, Namini Abdulmi, look, there is no way I might be able to pronounce this damn name, so go ahead and send me into The Hague. Snapped an image of his mother's bed with a fake homeless man dressed in torn and stained clothing lying down for a nap. "He's friendly, sleeping on your bed," he said in the clip. "He's been marinating on your bed for 2 hours. In my room? What is this? What are you doing in my own room?" His mother was apparent. Like, this child has been cut out of the will. I would like to pray for the safety of this child because I do know. And Zach said, moment of silence for Miami Spice's groin injury. Sorry, Miami Spice. That's not a fun injury. Oh, for the Latitos. There it is. Also, marinating in my bed, that bed would be burnt. I don't care if it was AI. The thought of someone marinating in my bed, like the entire house would have to be cleansed with holy fire. Like, this is why Mr. Mo has stopped me from doing big cleans, because there is a point in big, deep cleans where I'm just like, holy fire would take care of this in about 30 minutes. And he's like, no, arson is never the answer. And I'm like, okay, you deal with 6 kids with norovirus. You tell me what is and isn't the answer. And thank you, Tammy, for the Holy Fire Fund. Yes, there are very few things that push me to that level. Mice and vomit. I'm not gonna lie. I cannot. It is the only thing in momdom that I really, really can't. I'm like, okay, well, we'll just have to move after everyone gets the stomach flu. Like that is it. Until Lysol and bleach make a bomb where you can just like fog your house with germ killing chemicals as you leave. I think that, holy fire is an option. I mean, especially with super lice. You have not lived until you have both the tummy bug and super lice going around at the same time with 6 children. So, at apparently this is something that a lot of little kids are doing to their parents. Now he took the prank, or his mom will call Exhibit 1 in her Snapped episode, telling his mother that the AI generated homeless man claimed her kitchen materials were from his auntie's cousin's side. I don't know these people. I don't know them. I don't know the cousin, and I don't know the auntie, she said. Now, what started as a viral joke is taking a criminal turn, with police departments across the nation issuing statements urging the public to stop the stupid and potentially dangerous trend. Now, 2 Ohio juveniles were criminally charged for their involvement in the AI homeless prank, according to Brown County Sheriff's Office. And the Yonkers Police Department statement said, hey, we all like to laugh, but warn that manufacturing fake emergencies crosses a line and could lead to serious consequences. A public service announcement from the City of Salem Police Department warned pranksters to read the state law and noting the bad taste and harm of this viral trend. That's just the Big Lebowski. This prank dehumanizes the homeless and causes distressed recipients to panic and waste police resources. Authorities warned that 911 calls linked to the prank are being taken seriously and draining resources. So please, TikTokers, stop bringing us down to your moral and mental stupidity. We cannot have this. Most people don't. Look, this looks pretty real to me. I mean, until you notice that he doesn't leave a shadow. That being said, this one does leave a shadow. So just don't be a jackass. Generally, just don't be a jackass. Which is something that apparently this person should have learned, but didn't, because she is a charity boss. A charity boss allegedly blew $11 million meant for needy kids on mansions and a flashy yellow Mercedes for her lover, according to federal documents. I mean, my shock. I can't imagine. After, big mansions matter, I had no idea. A Missouri charity boss swiped nearly $11 million meant for food-starved and low-income children and blew it on lavish items such as mansions and a flashy yellow Mercedes for her boyfriend. So is this why the war on poverty is going so well? Because all the funds for the ammunition to fight poverty are going to mansions instead of feeding the children? Connie Bobo. Okay, if you give money to a person whose last name is Bobo, I think it's on you. The taxpayers need to be represented. Did anyone do a background check on this chick? Did anyone notice that she was driving around in a Mercedes when she was supposed to be helping the children? I mean, did anyone do anything? Now, Connie Bobo is 46, and she ran the New Heights Community Resource Center in Bridgeton, and allegedly claimed that she had spent $20 million of the federally allocated taxpayer money to feed children between February 2019 and March 2022. Well, I mean, if you fed them in new siding and bricks, of course. But she actually spent less than half of those meal reimbursement funds on food, instead plunking down big bucks on real estate and luxury goods, and giving her romantic partner a $1.4 million dollar windfall, according to prosecutors. She bought a mansion for herself, houses for her family, and a bright yellow Mercedes for her boyfriend. Assistant U.S. Attorney Jonathan Cowell told jurors at her trial that started on Tuesday. As her lies were discovered, the defendant used forged documents to try to cover up her crime, he said. Now, in total, Bobo bought 7 properties, including a nearly $1 million mansion for herself in St. Charles, according to a federal indictment that was filed in October 2023. Now, she spent $2.2 million of the money for the program funded by the U.S. Department of Agriculture on commercial real estate investment, prosecutors said. Now, during her spree, she also gave roughly $1.4 million to her boyfriend, Howard Hughes III. He probably has nothing to do with anything. But there you go. The third, who spent roughly $212,000 of the funds on a gleaming Mercedes-Benz G550 wagon 4x4 squared. He spent $200,000 on this ugly ass car. This is what he spent $200. Does it give you a handy? Does it iron your clothes? Does it give you good McDonald's French fries? Like that. Y'all make fun of me for the PT Cruiser, but I'm not spending $20,000 of taxpayer money when I'm going to soup up mine. Just what in the... And it's ugly. It is ugly as sin. Who the hell would buy this? This is snot colored. Ugh. This is everything that's wrong with everything. Now, to cover her tracks, Bobo named her family members and friends as New Heights board members on official documentation without their knowledge. Her friend Dacre Betts testified on Tuesday that she was stunned to learn that she was listed as the nonprofit's vice president after being contacted by the FBI. Now, Bobo's lawyer, meanwhile, argued that she didn't mean to violate federal rules. Look, I didn't mean to steal and get caught, but now that you've caught me, it was totally a mistake. It could work. Every step that Miss Bobo took was for the best interest of the community in an attempt to give back. I don't pretend to be great at math in general, and I do maybe tend to fudge with the budget Mr. Mo gives me, but there is no way with a straight face I can condone I was helping the poors, and then you're buying mansions and letting your boyfriend buy the ugliest car imaginable. That kind of seems like she's all the guilty, but I know her defense attorney has to try. Now, Bobo was charged with 3 counts of wire fraud, aggravated identity theft, obstruction for allegedly falsifying food vendor invoices subpoenaed by a grand jury, and she faces 20 years behind bars. And please let us say that the taxpayers get to all have a ride in this fugly car, and then we can destroy it with Roman candles. Because I'd be okay with that. Well, ladies, it's not his hands, it's not his feet. We might be able to figure out what he's packing some different way. And of course, I pulled this for science. Here's what might signal a man's endowment, and it's neither his hands or his feet. His wallet? They say a smile is worth 1,000 words, but apparently it can reveal a little more than that. The latest viral craze on social media claims that you can tell a guy's endowment just by his smile, and social media just can't stop gossiping. And Dan Davis says, it may be ugly, but it's better looking than... To be fair, yeah, Dan Davis, I don't understand the Tesla truck. It's not my jam. I don't get it. If you got one, great. I just think they look kind of ugly. But if it's your jam, look, like I said, I like PT Cruisers. Not gonna lie, they are the most... It was either that or an Edsel, and apparently the PT Cruiser is where I decided to land. Although I would much rather have an El Camino, but, that being said... I can do that right now. Baker never smiles. So Now, according to the swooning TikTok fans and X users from fans of Superman actor David Cornsweet to Hugh Jackman, the hung smile is a sly, flirty, confident grin that supposedly signals that a man knows just how well endowed he is. Yeah, but I make that smile too, and I don't have a penis. So, I mean, I'm going to stick with hands and feet because I don't understand social cues. And how am I supposed to know when it's a I have gas smile and or I'm packing meat smile? I have no idea. Now, think Big D Energy that was made popular in 2018 thanks to Pete Davidson. Okay, so apparently this is the hung smile. I mean, it looks like I have great veneer smile, but I mean, there you go. Also, I think we're batting for the same team, so I don't know that I really care as to whether he's hung or not, simply because I think we're both going after Henry Cavill. That being said, everyone's going after Henry Cavill. Oh yeah, no, I'm gonna listen to this person about. To be fair, also, this person reach out to me so I can figure out how to do my eyebrows like that, because I feel like there would be no laundry left on display if I had those eyebrows, just the scary mom eyebrows. Why are there wire hangers? I mean, there you go. So apparently this is also a hung smile. It just looks like a guy that's trying to take I mean, okay, I guess these are all hung smiles too. As I said, I'm a stick with hands and feet because these just look like normal smiles to me. I'm not a big Hugh Jackman fan, so because again, I think he and I are both looking for Henry Cavill, despite what he believes or says. So there you go. If in doubt, look at his smile. Is he confident, or does he still think this is huge and that's why he's confident? I don't know, but I find the headlines for you guys. In a sad or maybe, something that you don't always watch show, I'll definitely be watching this when it comes out. The new Ghost Adventures episode will capture the moment that host Aaron Goodwin learned about his wife's, unaliving plot while filming. A video released from a new episode of Ghost Adventures captures the moment that host Aaron Goodwin learned his wife had been arrested for concocting a murder-for-hire plot to take his life. Now, the clip, which aired Wednesday on Discovery Plus channel, captured Goodwin staring down at his phone in astonishment while filming inside an abandoned Hollydale mental hospital in Downey, California in March. Now, hold on a second, Goodwin 49 says as he walked to answer a call, according to the clip first obtained by TMZ. You all right? You okay? Cast member Jay Watsley asked him. Bro, the police are at my house. I gotta go outside, Goodwin responds before storming out of the pitch black abandoned medical complex. Now, the show chose to limit the footage out of respect for Goodwin. Moments after taking the call with police, Goodwin learned that his wife, Victoria Goodwin, 32, had been arrested on solicitation to commit murder and conspiracy to commit murder charges for hiring a hit person to take his life. Now, in the months leading up to the murder plot, Victoria had been sleeping with multiple men. She's ho-jacent, if not member of the Olympic home team. Including Grant Amato. Yes, the man who took the life of his entire family because a cam girl in Bulgaria was truly and for real his girlfriend. So that's what was revealed at his wife's sentencing in June. Now, the 32-year-old's lover, Amato, was convicted of the massacring of his mother, father, and brother, not brothers. It was his mother, his dad, and his brother Cody. He does have an older brother that was spared. And he is serving a life sentence in Florida when she reached out to him as a pen pal following his role in the documentary Control Alt Desire, which I will be watching because what else am I going to do? Now, Victoria had been messaging Amato since October 2024, openly expressing a desire to take Goodwin's life to get out of her marriage. Am I a bad person because I chose to end his existence and not just get a divorce? Police cited Victoria texting to the inmate, and let me be your Jiminy Cricket with a side of bitch. Yes. Yes, it's called, yes, most people would rather get divorced, however hellacious that is, than getting offed. So I don't know why you're going to a convicted, matricide, patricide, and filicide, person to get your moral quandaries answered. But yes, let me be your Jiminy Cricket with a side of bitch. Fuck yes, it's wrong. You disgusting, thunder cow. Now, she allegedly offered $11,515. I'm glad that she didn't make it a round number. I'm glad she added that extra 15. I guess that was the tip, gratuity or what have you. $11,515. Like the amounts these people come up with, because I would think just for general, shady accounting, you would keep it at round numbers. Nope. They're just like, and 85 cents. Now, that's what they paid for the job, and she passed along information about where her husband was going to be to Amato to provide to a hitman he was communicating with to pull off the hit. Now, the murder for hire plot was only discovered after corrections officers confiscated the Florida inmate's phone as contraband. I don't even want to know how they were able to get it out of the prison wallet, but I hope they didn't use lidocaine. Now, Aaron filed for a divorce after the plot was revealed. In an Instagram post on Tuesday, the paranormal investigator stated he would not be watching the new episode as he continues to heal from this entire thing. The next episode of #Ghost Adventures is when I got the FaceTime call from the police. They were in my home and told me what she did and she was being arrested. Goodwin wrote in a caption of the clip at the Hollydale Mental Hospital. I won't be watching the episode because I don't want to relive that night again and what happened before the call. This lockdown is insane and disturbing with what happened during our investigation. Now, she was found guilty and sentenced to a minimum of 36 months to a maximum of 90 months in Nevada prison. The full episode, titled Hollydale Asylum of Hell, aired on Discovery Plus. So if you want to see that, that's where you can look for it. In Hollywood, people do not have the authority to tell us what to do when they are semi-functional thinking enthusiasts. This continues to go on. Now, I didn't cover this mostly because I don't care about what adult pretenders pretend to care about. However, this keeps spiraling. Now, Dax Shepard and Kristen Bell decided to do a cute, anniversary sort of video and just add a sprinkle of, jokes about how neither of them laid hands or wanted to, off each other. So basically turned DV into a punchline and tried to make it like, I would never take you out even though I've been justified. Again, very tone deaf and almost exactly how Blake Lively handled the, DV issue for whatever. It Ends With Us. I was like, what was that craptastic movie that she was in? So again, these are somewhat of topics that you don't make fun of. You don't joke about. There are kind of certain third rail kind of issues that you have to have either experienced it personally or had your own way to make it funny from personal experiences that you don't make fun of this shit. Now, a video has resurfaced of Dax Shepard joking about laying hands on his wife, Kristen Bell, just days after the actress faced backlash for her tone-deaf anniversary post. Now, the Shepard and Bell were being interviewed by She Knows while doing press for their 2012 movie Hit and Run when he made the off-color joke about, laying hands on her. Now, in the clip, Bell recalled getting into the car with Shepard after he spent 2 hours souping it up. He was so excited we drove to brunch, and first thing I said 5 minutes into the ride, I said, "This sounds like it's going to break." And Shepard deadpanned that he was very offended. And then he kind of offhandedly joked about, laying hands on her and, she learned to stop mouthing off. Now, not jokes you should make. Just gonna throw that out there. There are ways to make that funny if you've walked through that, but that's your own personal way of dealing with this. And for two adult pretenders who have no idea what they're doing other than preaching to us about how they're good people, I say shut the F up. And, I don't care. You're Hollywood pretenders. You have no right to tell me anything. You don't come up with thoughts. You read them from someone else who barely can come up with thoughts if given the latest, Hollywood offerings of slop are anything to do. It's bad when my 13-year-old son, my husband took him to the new Tron movie because he wanted to do something for his fall break. And my 13-year-old son walks out of the movie and looks at my husband and says, "That's 2 hours of my life I'm never going to get back." So Hollywood, maybe focus on people that have actually lived through something, can be funny, and will actually write as if they have knowledge of the world instead of fighting evil AI against climate change. Or continue doing what you're doing and I'll have fun regardless. Now, in sad and terrifying news for those of us who like Coca-Cola and soda, this is only on the cans. So that is something. But 3 popular Coca-Cola sodas have been recalled due to potential metal contamination. Now, the FDA said the recall of select Coca-Cola Zero Sugar, Coca-Cola, and Sprite cans have been classified as a Class 2 recall. The risk classification from the federal agency indicates that the recalled product could cause temporary or medically reversible adverse health consequences, but that the serious adverse consequences are remote. Now, the recall initiated by a bottler that Coca-Cola Southwest Beverages use on October 3rd covers more than 4,000 cans of soda distributed in Texas. So if you are, in Texas, these are cans, check with your local grocery stores. They will, probably know what's safe, and you can look up in your own area. That does have the product codes, so you can, look. It does appear to be all the cans, so definitely just look. It's not, a fear prawn thing like mainstream media, but definitely if you live in Texas, take a look if you got cans of pop. Y'all, I don't even know what to do with some of these headlines because half the news could be, freaking what in the Walmart rapture. A drunk Texas mother admits that she ran over and took the life of her husband with an SUV, but claims she only meant to tap him. It was going to be tappity, tappity, tap. And then she went full Daryl Brooks. I mean, I don't know where this defense is going, but this might be a court case for us to watch. Now, a Texas mother admitted to running over and taking the life of her husband with her SUV, but claims she was drunk and only meant to hit him. Sarah Boone, this is not how we play hide and seek. You essentially drove a giant missile at your husband. Elena Gonzalez Morelos, 37, voluntarily turned herself into the Pasadena Police Department and confessed to mowing down her husband, 42-year-old Leonardo Mendoza, with her Chevy Tahoe following a heated argument on Sunday morning, KTRK reported. Now, Gonzalez Morelos left a party and was drunk when she returned to her home in Pasadena, about 15 miles southeast of Houston, and got in a verbal argument with her husband, Pasadena police officer Darby Slack said. Now, as far as we know, there were just some ongoing marital issues going on. She'd come home around 2 o'clock that morning, Slack told the outlet. The children overheard them having an argument inside the room. He was excited, and then he exited and she followed. Now, following the argument, Mendoza left the home and began walking down the street to where his car was parked. When a witness in a nearby gas station said they saw a black Tahoe exit the roadway, jump the curb, and strike the male that was walking through the parking lot. Now, the witness said that after hitting Mendoza, the SUV fled the scene. Police were called out to the scene around 3 a.m. for a fail to stop and render aid incident. So they have it all on camera. Her defense attorney is going to be like, plead. Now, first, they found Mendoza suffering from serious injuries and rushed him to HCA Houston Healthcare Southeast, but unfortunately, doctors were not able to, keep him alive. Now, Pasadena detectives then began a thorough investigation of the fatal hit and run. Mendoza's family members spoke to investigators who revealed the SUV in question matched the description of Gonzalez Morelos' black Tahoe. After surrendering to authorities, she allegedly admitted to investigators that she accelerated her SUV onto the sidewalk and ran over her husband. She told investigators they had meant to hit her husband with the SUV, but maintained she did not intend to kill him. Okay, Sarah Boone, unintentional. The argument that it allegedly sparked the violence is believed to have begun over a text message, according to court documents that local news has found. However, the contents of that message have not been made public and don't expect them to for a while until this plays out in court. Now, she has since been charged with first-degree murder. She remains in custody pending a transfer to Harris County Joint Processing Center. Now, Pasadena police say the case has now been handed over to the Harris County District Attorney's Office. So there you go with that one. And now we are in to the actual final form Jesus, and boy, do we have some stories for today. I mean, almost all the headlines today could be in What in the Walmart Rapture, but these are some extra special headlines. So let's get into the What in the Walmart Rapture, and we need final form Jesus.
The G-keep scrolls, thou glowing shrine of thirst traps, scams, and dollar signs. We chant in tones both grim and low, for virtue fled a long time ago. Kyrie eleison, Christe descendat, final form Jesus return in wrath. With six-pack listening, sword in hand, he cometh swift to cleanse the land.
Now, I don't claim to be a doctorologist, ologiitis, but I don't think you breathe with your butt. But I'm willing, if the Japanese do it, maybe I can link it to Sailor Moon. Japanese butt breathing technique that could help people with lung conditions. None of this sounds like a good idea. Japanese and U.S. researchers have developed a groundbreaking treatment for people who can't breathe through their lungs by diverting oxygen where the sun doesn't shine. Results from the first human clinical test trial testing so-called butt breathing suggest that it's safe and well tolerated, pushing the cheeky alternative one step closer to becoming a real lifesaver. I'd rather die. Thank you. It might look like a sketch from Saturday Night Live, but the IG Nobel Prize winning idea actually steals a page from nature's playbook. Loaches, a type of bottom dwelling fish, usually breathe through their gills, but when oxygen runs low, they're known to swim to the surface and gulp air and swallow it. That air then moves through their digestive tract, where oxygen is absorbed through the bloodstream before the rest is expelled through farting. Now, basically, loaches can breathe through their backsides, and they're not alone. Sea turtles, sea cucumbers, and dragonfly nymphs, and even pigs can absorb oxygen in similar ways when their lungs aren't up to the task. Inspired by these creatures, scientists wonders if humans with blocked airways and clogged lungs could use something similar, using a technique called entrail ventilation, or entrail. Again, just let me die. It looks like an enema, with researchers slipping oxygen-rich liquid straight into, well, the downstairs bits through a lubricated tube. And yeah, no. Once inside, the oxygen would theoretically pass through the intestinal walls and into the bloodstream, bypassing the lungs altogether. Now, after early animal tests showed that the treatment could stave off respiratory failures without major complications, scientists took the plunge and moved to human trials in Japan. They recruited 27 healthy and brave men who agreed to have various amounts of liquid inserted into their prison wallets for 60 minutes. Can you imagine trying to get people to sign up for the study? So what am I going to be doing? And, they're probably thinking like, minoxidil, I'm going to work on, bald spots. I'm going to maybe get a little pill to see if my ween gets harder. No, they're like, we are going to need you to anally ingest this oxygen liquid. Now, notably, the liquid was not oxygenated. This was just a safety test to gauge whether humans could tolerate the procedure. Well, I'm glad they tested it out on poor, unsuspecting test human guinea pigs for $25. This is the first human data, and the results are limited solely to demonstrating the safetiness of the procedure and not its efficacy. Dr. Tanaroki Takabe, co-author of the study, said in a statement, "Now that we've established that people can tolerate it, the next step will be to evaluate how effective the process is for delivering oxygen into the bloodstream." Looking ahead, they want to test enteral ventilation with oxygenated liquid, aiming to figure out how much is needed and how long it must be held to boost the patient's oxygen levels. Several health conditions can mess with the lungs' ability to transfer oxygen to the bloodstream, from airway injuries to inflammations to pneumonia. So for these patients, doctors would often provide respiratory support like mechanical ventilation or oxygen therapies, but sometimes these methods still fall short of the amount of oxygen they need. So if this does happen to be a good thing, then to help those people, then yes, but mark me out of the clinical testing for any of this. I mean, I would definitely ride in a humongous pumpkin boat. Humongous Pumpkin Boat Race features costumes, captains, and a world record-breaking sailor. Give them pumpkins and they'll go sail about. Gourds and ghouls gathered in the, I'm going to guess, Talton, Oregon for the 21st annual West Coast Giant Pumpkin Regatta to watch competitors turn huge pumpkins into hollowed out floating boats. Now, the event has been drawing large crowds to the Portland suburbs since 2004. To get the humongous pumpkins into to make them into the lake, some of which weigh over 1,000 pounds, organizers have to use forklifts to carefully lower them into the water before racers can carve out the insides, using saws, knives, and anything they have around to turn it into a vessel. The more More insides are removed, the lighter the pumpkin is, and easier to raise. When all the carving is done, there are enough discarded seeds and pulp to fill a dumpster. Ugh. Now, competitors dressed in Halloween costumes as they raced around the lake to cheers from hundreds of onlookers. Gary Christensen, dressed as Will Ferrell's buddy from the Christmas classic Elf, won the first race and celebrated by raising his kayak paddle into the air from his 936-pound pumpkin boat. You've got an exciting activity that crowds love. You got costumes, you got people, you've got spectacles, pumpkin sinking. It has everything, Christensen said. Now, Christensen has competed in the regatta since 2013 and partakes in pumpkin boating more than just at this annual event. I mean, do what makes you happy. Fly your freak flag, sir. If you want to, float around in pumpkins, who's gonna tell you not to? It's kind of an addiction at this point, he said. Now, back in May, he got a Guinness World Record for the longest journey by pumpkin boat after paddling just over 58 miles, breaking his own record set the previous year. The regatta has also become a passion project for Brad Bronze. This year, his fourth regatta participating in, he dressed up as a character from the hit show Squid Game. I mean, there you go. Now, Bonds grew a 1,376-pound pumpkin on his own, which took him 6 months in total, and said he had fun doing it on his own, getting to culminate the season by putting it in the lake and paddling around with his friends. Christian said that there's a simple formula for growing a massive pumpkin: good seeds, good soil, good luck, and hard work. Now, the regatta is supported by the Pacific Giant Vegetable Growers Association, which cultivates the massive pumpkins throughout the year, and has become a seasonal tradition in Oregon that makes the start of the fall season, I guess. I mean, hey, you know what? At least you're not a furry, sir. Who is Kira Cousins, the Scottish mom who faked her own pregnancy and baby, has spoken out about the hoax? Well, I have never faked being pregnant. I guess that's one of those never have I ever. I've actually faked being not pregnant whilst pregnant. In one of the most shocking viral hoaxes of the year, a young Scottish woman named Kira Cousins has admitted to completely faking her pregnancy, from phony ultrasound scans to passing off a silicone doll as her newborn baby. The elaborate ruse exploded across social media in October 2025 and even became a trending topic on TikTok, with several users going down a rabbit hole to learn the entire story as it began to unravel. In another surprise turn of events, Cousins issued an apology on October 21st, expressing remorse for trying to convince loved ones and the rest of the world that she had welcomed a daughter named Bonnie Lee Joyce. "I'm so sorry," she wrote in a now-deleted Instagram story obtained by the Daily Record. "I wasn't pregnant, there was no baby, I made it up, and it kept going way too far. I faked scans, messages, a whole birth story, acted like a doll was Laura Owens in Scotland." Also, dude, how did you not know? I mean, even if you got one of those fake prosthetic baby bumps, I'm guessing you've seen her nude once in a while. Now, Cousins was a young woman from the town of Arridy in Scotland and went viral after fooling her friends and the man who claimed, she claimed was the baby's father, into believing she was pregnant. Cousins generated interest in her faux pregnancy journey by sporting a growing prosthetic bump, even holding a gender reveal party during which pink confetti sprinkled in the air. She even uploaded ultrasound images and alleged that preliminary tests had detected a heart defect in the child, further claiming she ultimately gave birth alone. Now, her baby supposedly weighed 5 pounds 4 ounces and arrived on October the 10th. While speaking out about the ordeal, Cousins apologized and acknowledged those that showed her support every way prior to her shocking admission. "You cried happy tears, you picked me up, you bought me places, believed everything I said," her statement read. "You didn't deserve to be lied to like that, none of you did. Everyone who came to the gender reveal, all the people who gave me gifts or support, I effed up and hurt a lot of people. And to everyone I made look bad along the way, to the dad and his family, I'm especially sorry. That he wasn't a dad to your boy. Again, like, dude didn't see her nude? I have questions. Now, the baby was ultimately determined to be a reborn doll. In everyone's defense, the doll could move, you could change the facial features and the arms and legs, she clarified, according to multiple reports. Why? Cousin's hoax took a life of its own and is supposedly, going to be a Netflix documentary that is claimed to be coming soon. So, yeah. There you go. I mean, I may not understand what AWS is, but apparently many people who were dealing with the blackout got stuck in their beds or their beds were stuck in odd positions. The Amazon Web Service outage that affected apps and sites ranging from Reddit to Roblox also caused some smart beds to overheat, and some were stuck. And thank you so much, Granny Smith. I hope you have a great weekend, Mo. Well, I hope you have a great weekend too. So thank you, thank you. Actually, no, that was middle daughter. I was giving her some information. That being said, I do have a movable bed, and I would be pissed if it got stuck, but I have a remote control. I don't have an app. I just, sometimes it's easier for my legs to be propped up, and I like to sit on my bed. Users of 8 Sleep Smart beds say that the AWS outage on Monday caused the heat settings on their mattress to stop responding, resulting in multiple complaints of beds getting so hot with no way to cool them that people were fearing that they were going to start house fires. Some users of the high-end 8 Sleep $5,049 Pod 5 Ultra beds, which were able to adjust to reduce snoring and back problems, said they were unable to take their mattresses out of an upright position. Now, Matteo Francinetti, CEO of 8 Sleep, acknowledged issues on social media and said the company is taking steps to ensure that the incident is not repeated. The AWS outage has impacted some of our users since last night, disrupting their sleep, he wrote on X. That is not the experience we want to provide, and we apologize for it. He said the company is now working on outage proofing their technology, which you would think would be one of those common things you would have already done. Like, I'm no Harry Potter wizard in Matrixology, but you think, planning ahead for outages, because everything outages. I just, for the love of goodness, maybe just have a backup plan. I thought you guys were engineers. Now, I pulled this just because I love this particular YouTuber. Not so much, look, this isn't a political channel. You can make what you want about them being migrants and illegal. But I love, Caleb Hammer. He's really, really smart. And when you make Caleb just give up on you, you have become a thinking enthusiast of the financial sort. A financial expert sensationally cut a show short with an interview with entitled, people who revealed that they were $420,000 in debt, but still deserved a new Toyota Tacoma and a house with a pool. Well, I deserve, free entrance into every high-end Sailor Moon thing, but deserve in one hand and work hard in the other, see which one fills up faster. Caleb Hammer had a couple from Phoenix, Arizona on his YouTube show, Financial Audit, in which he conducts an audit of his guest finances to help them get out of debt. Now, the couple told the host in the episode entitled, "These People Are Effed," that they are dreamers who came to the United States as children, aged 9 and 5. Now, dreamers are, undocumented immigrants who came to America as children and are protected from deportation under the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program, so DACA. Now, the man whom Caleb's members dubbed Oscar works in construction, where he estimates he makes about $6,000 a month, driving a forklift 50 to 60 hours per week while his mother stays at home. Now, Oscar noted that he pays very little in taxes, but Hammer calculated that he and his wife are nearly $420,000 in debt, with liabilities including a mortgage rate on their house with 4.3% interest and a Toyota 4Runner. Now, it became very clear shortly into the episode that the couple felt they were entitled to certain luxuries, as Oscar complained that he didn't like their house because their 3 children didn't have a pool. Now, Hammer told them that to just use a community pool, but the man said he didn't want it to because it was dirty. The financial guru repeatedly told the couple they need to implement changes to get their budget under control, to which they argued he didn't understand their plight because he has no children. Now, the conversation turned to the couple's Toyota 4Runner, for which they, consolidated their debt. Hammer basically told them, sell the 4Runner tomorrow. He went on to advise the couple to use Oscar's old beater car until it dies out. "I'm thinking of getting a Tacoma," Oscar instead replied. "I deserve a Tacoma." "You're selling this, driving a beater until it's done, and the car and repairs would be stupid," he said, before the woman interjected that they still needed a family car. When Hammer asks whether he would agree to sell the 4Runner, which retails for about $40,000, the man replies defiantly, "I'm keeping the 4Runner." To which Hammer erupts, "Then that's it, I'm ending this. There's no conversation to be had. I'm ending the episode. If you're not willing to take literally the most basic sacrifice on the one thing you have, you guys are effed, and I'm sad to see that. That's effing sad, and that's on them. This is not me wanting to end this because I'm outraged or anything. They're not willing to take a basic step, so I'm done." Now, many comments on the video were also surprised. "I'm so glad Caleb ate them both up," one YouTube user wrote. "People with kids budget all the time." Yes, right here. "Activities may need to go if you can't afford rent." I mean, and that's a big thing. Like, smaller families, kids are in competition, soccer and tennis. We have to be realistic about that. And so maybe if our kids showed a really accelerated talent in any of that, but they haven't expressed an interest. So yeah, when you have a bigger family or when you have your own family, you have to make certain sacrifices. Sure, I want my own PT Cruiser painted teal with a big old, double deuces Mo on the side of it, Yes, I want that, but my kids' braces and medications and, keeping a roof over their head, helping for their future, protecting our future, all comes before that. Some people need to take a life course. Well, I mean, if you're going to steal trade secrets, do it on camera in a, hearing. This woman is a thinking enthusiast as well, not a mastermind, but a pinky with Dunning-Krugers. A vocal critic of Georgia's biggest electrical company has been accused of swiping her enemy's booklet of trade secrets. Well, isn't that special? Former Democratic Public Service Commission PSC candidate Patty Durand was arrested on felony charges for allegedly stealing sensitive trade information belonging to Georgia Power. Now, surveillance video captured Durland allegedly re-entering a PSC meeting room on Tuesday and grabbing a book labeled Georgia Power Trade Secrets. This was a honeypot, and you are just dumb enough to get caught in it, ma'am. Now, the warrant has footage showing her flipping through the booklet before looking around and slipping it into her bag. Well, she's definitely no Pink Panther. Now, the Georgia Capitol Police charged her with felony theft of trade secrets and has booked her into the Fulton County Jail. Now, she remained in jail on Wednesday with no bail set, as per the AP. Yeah, couldn't happen to a more ridiculous person. Yeah, she basically, like, here, we're not slick here, ma'am. Like, doo-doo, dooby-doo, dooby, dooby-doo. Okay, we're gonna speed on forward to her just... Oh, she's like, oh, what is this? This is special. Oh, I haven't read this Harlequin romance in a while. And why is no one paying attention to this woman just swiping things off of other people? She is so slick. Look at this. Full 360 around the room in her velvet jacket. And the tech guy is like like, it's all good. The mic is good. Now, if she's convicted, she could face between 1 and 5 years in prison and a fine of up to $50,000. Now, Durand has been an outspoken critic of PSC and Georgia Powers. PSC sets the rates utility companies like Georgia Power can charge for electricity, natural gas, and telecommunications. The power giant is the largest subsidiary of Atlanta-based Southern Company with $2.3 million people as customers. Now, Durand attempted to run for Public Service Commission as Democrat in 2022, but failed because of cancellation of statewide elections. Now, following this, she did found Georgians for Affordable Energy to carry on her attack against the electrical company. The lack of transparency with this commission is the worst in the country, with heavy redactions and trade secrets designations on nearly everything, Durand wrote in an email to the Associated Press in December 2024. Now, Chairperson Josh McCoon of the Georgian Republican Party slammed Durand in a statement obtained by Atlanta News First. Patty Durand built her brand on attacking Public Service Commission, and now she's been arrested for stealing from it. So, again, I don't know enough about Georgia, but this does seem like she's going all the way to prison. So perhaps don't steal things from places that have excellent security, like courtrooms. Don't know why you would do that. Now we've got some people to name and shame because, good Lord, criminals are getting dumber, or my ability to cope with their stupidity is getting lower. I don't know, but for our name and shame portion of today's show, let's get Lord Chippy in here because we got some naming, we got some shaming, and they've got some splaining to do.
They're our skin, they steal our grace. These monsters wear a human face. No gavel, no badge, no throne, no crown can stop Lord Chippy from burning them down. Justice ain't fast, justice ain't clean. It's a long, sharp road through the in-between. So raise your fists and light your flames. Chippy's coming and he don't play games.
Look, I like a good show of dumbassery most of the time, but you keep kids away from this. It wasn't even my kid. A man staged photos of toddlers holding force multipliers, beer, lettuce, and his defense was, but it weren't my kid, so I didn't endanger no kid of mine. Now, shockingly enough, this is from the great state of Florida man and Florida woe man. I know you're shocked. Florida, are you okay? The answer is no. A Florida man apparently thought it would be hilarious to take photos of young children holding force multipliers, beer, and drugs, but cops in the Sunshine State weren't laughing at him or with him. Taylor Coop, 27, stands accused of 2 counts of felony child neglect without great bodily harm. According to a probable cause arrest affidavit, a concerned citizen called the Volusia County Sheriff's Office after receiving photos of a child nearly a year old who was holding a bag containing about a pound of suspected devil's lettuce. Another photo showed a girl with a Michelob Ultra beer bottle propped on her belly, and in another she appeared to be holding some sort of force multiplier. Cops also found a screenshot showing an alleged text exchange between Knoop and a woman who expressed concern about the photo. "Okay, you act like I care. It wasn't my kid," he allegedly responded. Get this man into prison and out of my street area, because people this dumb cannot be trusted in public. Now, investigators from the Sheriff's Office and the Department of Children and Families visited Knoop's home in DeLon Springs to interview him. Now, the kid's room appears to be under renovation with support beams and wires visible. One of the victims, along with 2 other kids, was living in a home that they did appear to be in good health, but there were still different things about. Now, when asked about the photos, he confirmed that he was aware of them, but denied that the marijuana or the force multipliers were his. The defendant claimed he was in a different room when the pictures of the baby holding the Glock were taken. He said the photos involving one of the kids were from 3 years ago. Now, detectives took Knoop into custody and took him to the Volusia County Jail, where he has since posted the $10,000 bond. He did plead not guilty and is slated to appear in court on November 20th. Now, DCYF or DCF did remove the children from the home and place them with family members, which is really the only silver lining in this. Well, discredit on the judiciary. A Texas judge publicly reprimanded for cloak and dagger behavior against the DA and a bias toward death penalty patient who slaughtered family. A local judge in Harris County, Texas, has been sanctioned over her cloak and dagger behavior in a high-profile capital murder case. In July 2014, Ron Haskell, 45, shot 7 members of the Stay family at their home in the border of the Houston area, or the broader Houston area, while searching for his ex-wife. Now, that rampage took the lives of 6 of the members of the family and left only 1 sole survivor. Now, that since condemned man killed his ex-sister-in-law, her husband, and 4 of their children, his ex-wife was not at the residence. In October 2019, Haskell arrived on death row at the Lone Star State. His execution date has not been scheduled. In June 2024, the 351st Criminal District Court Judge, Natalia Cornelio, signed a bench warrant that was used to start the process of transporting Haskell over to a private medical facility for an MRI, according to a public reprimand issued by the State Commission on Judicial Conduct. The warrant, however, contained a reference to a court date that did not exist, according to the commission. This was the first of Cornelio's efforts to shield Haskell's movements from public knowledge. Now, the information on the bench warrant itself might have been a clue. The document read in relevant part, the case is set on court docket for July 22nd, 2024 at 12 a.m. in Harris County District Court listed above. Of what would be a midnight hearing, the Ethic Board notes no court proceedings are scheduled in the state of Texas versus Ronald Lee Haskell. It was survivor of the massacre that initiated the proceedings. The survivor herself had received a notification about Haskell's transfer from a public system that monitors alerts and developments about prisoner transfers. Now, in August, prosecutors moved to subpoena Haskell's transportation logs, according to the public's reprimand statement of facts. Haskell, in response, moved to quash the state's subpoena, and luckily for him, the judge overseeing the case was Cornelio herself. On September 12, 2024, Haskell moved to stop the state from looking into his movements, and on September 14, 2024, the judge granted a motion and quashed the subpoena without affording the state an opportunity to be heard, according to the reprimand issued by the Ethics Board. In October 2024, the Harris County District Attorney's Office, a bit fed up, filed a motion to recuse Cornelio from Haskett's case. The motion accused the judge of issuing a bench warrant for Haskell to be transported for a court setting, knowing the information to be false. The DA's office also accused Cornelio of issuing ex parte travel orders in a cloak and dagger manner that prevented the state from challenging her actions and quashing the DA's subpoena seeking information about the matter without affording the state an opportunity to be heard. Additionally, the DA's office accused Cornelio of exhibiting a high degree of favoritism toward Haskell. In October 2024, December, the Ethics Board was apprised of allegations against the judge, according to the reprimand. Now, in January of this year, following a series of hearings on the allegations against her, Cornelio was taken off the Haskell case. The misconduct investigation went on throughout the year, and the commission noted during her appearances before the commission the judge did not dispute any of the findings of fact. The judge did, however, offer something of a defense. Judge Cornelio acknowledged the bench warrant contained inaccurate information about a non-existing court appearance. The reprimand reads, Cornelio explained that her staff used a standard electronic form for bench warrants and, as a common practice in Harris County, identified a docket setting even though the defendant was not going to appear in court. Now, Judge Cornelio admitted that she should have been more careful about details of the form she was signing, and that it was ultimately her responsibility to ensure that bench warrants did not contain misleading information. Now, Cornelio, for her part, also admitted that she granted the motion to quash on a weekend without affording the state an opportunity to be heard, but insists she no longer issues rulings without a hearing involving both parties to the case or without making sure that the parties have agreed to the ruling absent a hearing. Now, the commission has determined that Cornelio violated 3 canons of judicial ethics code and 1 section of the Texas Constitution by performing her judicial duties with bias and manifesting by words and conduct bias in the performance of her judicial duties towards Haskell when she signed and issued the bench warrant, knowing it contained false information about a non-existent court appearance, and failing to afford the state an opportunity to be heard. Cornelio's failures in the foregoing respects constituted willful and persistent conduct that is clearly inconsistent with the proper performance of her judicial duties and cast public discredit on the judiciary and administration of justice. So some courts do hold their judges to account, and Texas is one of them. Now, why she seems to have a soft spot for a guy who annihilated an entire family, I don't know. I have no words, you guys. I have no effing flippin' flapjack words, name and shame, and if I were publicly allowed to do it, center of the sun. Smelled bad. A mother and boyfriend were arrested after a 4-year-old boy was found stiff inside a Dairy Queen. A woman and man have been arrested in the death of a 4-year-old boy who was found unresponsive outside of a Wisconsin Dairy Queen. The 31-year-old woman and 21-year-old man have not yet been named by authorities, but as of Monday, they remain in police custody. The West Allis Police Department can confirm, according to a local report, they are the mother of young Dante Campbell and her boyfriend. Now, on Saturday morning, the couple pulled up to a friend of Dante's mom's and dropped off the child's twin sister, according to court records reviewed by Milwaukee-based Fox affiliate WITI. It was here that the mother is said to have made a startling comment. Quote, "I need to go to the hospital. My son's not breathing. I think he's dead," someone heard the mom say per investigators. The vehicle then subsequently, she got in and it sped off. Law enforcement would soon be involved after the West Allis Police Department reported around 8 a.m. that day. Its dispatch center got a call from a woman indicating she was driving to the hospital with her son, who was unresponsive. Let's see. Now, the dispatcher is said to have asked the woman to stop the car given that there was a fire station nearby. As she agreed and pulled into the parking lot of an area Dairy Queen, the dispatcher gave the woman instructions on how to do CPR. Personnel with the fire department arrived minutes later and began rendering aid to the child. They were followed by police officers, and authorities took Dante to the hospital where he was unfortunately pronounced deceased. Now, detectives began investigating what led to the child's death, and the man and woman were subsequently arrested pertaining to their involvement in this incident. Now, the investigation has included speaking with both the mother and her boyfriend, and the woman reportedly told the police that her boyfriend had been watching her children and he was heavy-handed with discipline. Now, according to the man, he found Dante that morning stiff because the boy had fallen down. Okay, I just rewatched the snippet from Kindergarten Cop, but, it's always they fell down the mother effing stairs or off their bunk bed. Could you come up with a different excuse, you small-peened, small-brained idiot morons who have to take their violence out on small children? Could you come up with I know it's a lie, but I would like you to, if you're going to lie to my face, it better be a spectacular effing lie. I've always told my kids that. Look, if you're going to lie to my face, you better say that Cat-tillions and, trash pandas got together to form a union and conspiracy with the Trilateral Commission to frame not only you, but Kennedy. Now, he apparently fell down a flight of stairs the previous evening, noting that the child smelled bad. Investigators appeared skeptical, reportedly believing that the boy's bruises were not consistent with a fall down the stairs. Inside the home where Dante was staying, 3 other kids were found. The restroom in the residence was said to have a strong smell of rubbing alcohol, and the children's bedroom had a strong smell of urine. Now, Dante was in the care of other guardians until recently, a local NBC affiliate reported, with other family members saying he had been living with relatives like Rosie Hudson, a woman who described herself as Dante's aunt, until returning to his mother's care. Police said as of Monday that they're not looking into any other suspects involved in this death. The Milwaukee County District Attorney's Office told Law and Crime that an investigation is ongoing and charges are still being considered. Now, a GoFundMe was set up for Dante, saying he was taken from us this last weekend to the very people that were supposed to keep him safe in what we can only compare to a true crime documentary. And it added, Dante was a loving, happy boy that deserves so much better than what happened to him. He loved life and had the most amazing smile and laugh. His memory will forever live on with those who truly loved him and cared for him. Just straight to the center of the sun. And screw you, family services, for probably pushing family reunification when this little boy was happy and healthy with the relatives. But you're like, no, a mother's love is best. Overlooking the fact that she wasn't even taking care of herself or anyone else. But no, family reunification is so important. Again, it's cases like this where there is clear and documented evidence that these people should not have these children, but they constantly want to bring them back in. I just don't get it. Well, there really is no segue after naming and shaming, especially a story like that. So let's talk about sperm. Honestly, there really is no segue. Sperm quality may sink earlier than you think, and this $99 test kit lets you, watch and test at home. While famously old pops like Robert De Niro and Al Pacino may defy the odds, strong swimmers aren't guaranteed at every age. A new study on, swimmer health published in Nature has found that the best steeds start souring sooner than expected. British researchers tracked samples from 81 men aged from 24 to 75, measuring the proportion carrying disease-causing mutations using the precise technique called nanosec. Now, researchers have found that mutations increase with age, dropping notably around 43, and middle-aged men mutated, swimmers jump from 3% to 5%, and alarmingly, these bad apples seem to multiply faster than the healthy ones. Some changes in DNA not only survive but thrive within the testes, meaning that fathers who conceive later in life may unknowingly have a higher risk of passing on harmful mutations to their children. Now, as awareness of this kind of research spreads, more men are realizing that fertility isn't just a woman's issue. Many experts have stressed the importance of being proactive about sperm health, which is a fun run I would probably do, like run for good swimmers. Look, it's just ridiculous enough for me I would make a fun run. Now, many experts have stressed the importance of, doing these at-home tests, and maybe that's why they have grown in popularity. It's not about quality or quantity is the other concern. So in April, U.S. Health Secretary RFK Jr. warned about overall sperm counts that have dropped by 50%. His comments came just as a startup announced its first ever sperm race, sparking another wave of interest about these swimmers and how to document, what is actually happening with male fertility. Getting a baseline reading on, your health could provide men of all ages with valid information, including concentration and movement. Now on Amazon, FDA-approved kits sell for under $100 and can deliver results of over 97% accuracy in clinical trials with no lab visit necessary. This at-home testing technique may not be advanced as, in-clinic trials, but it delivers some interesting insights and some front-row tickets into a sperm race for yourself. You can get a real-time video feature that lets users track their swimmers' patterns. Dang it, we got Mr. Mo, Bob Barker. I would totally do this. I mean, look, I don't know. Why would I spend $100 to watch non-existent swimmers? Who knows? But if he still had access to those swimmers, this would be a cool thing, because science. Of course, I would then make shorts with dunce caps on. There is a reason I'm not allowed to be in charge of our discretional funding. The home sperm test remains one of the most extensively validated semen analysis systems on the market. The entire process takes less than 30 minutes. Takes less than 30 minutes. But there you go. If you are trying to start a family and you want to look up your fertility specs, you can watch a video of your own swimmers at home. I mean, there you go. We've all seen the couples that look more like siblings than married. That being the case, apparently this couple is infamous. A husband and wife that look so similar, they often get mistaken for identical twins. Well, are they both wearing bad wigs, or is it a bit? I mean, facially, they do look more sibling. A young couple from China has become famous for their uncanny resemblance, leading many people to speculate they might be long-lost siblings, which would be uncomfortable to learn about your wife. Lang Zhu and He Xing, both in their 20s, run an herbal medicine shop in some province in China that I'm not even going to attempt to name. Now, they both come from families with decades of experience in traditional herbal medicine, but the true struggled to get their business off the ground until they started doing promotional clips on Douyin, Chinese answer to TikTok. After noticing how similar they looked, the wife convinced her husband to take part in funny clips where they dressed alike to emphasize their look-alikeness even more. Today, these clips are the couple's main promotional material for the shop. When we first met, I didn't think we looked alike at all, Liang said. It was only after living together for several years that I slowly realized that we resembled one another more. For the past 2 years, we've been together almost around the clock, working, eating, and resting together. So I guess that's why we become increasingly more sibling-like. Look-alike. Although he's always been naturally introverted, he eventually agreed to star in his wife's viral clips and even cross-dressed to show their likeness. It wasn't long before fans started following the business page just to keep an eye on the identical husband and wife. The young couple's uncanny resemblance even went viral on Chinese social media, leaving many to wonder if they weren't identical twins rather than husband and wife. They don't just look alike, they're identical. Even the double chin folds match. Oh, that's mean, bringing the double chins into it. That's some meanness right there. Like, we don't say that. They're like, they did the chinography. And it's like, do, 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 do. And they're like, yep, the fat rolls match. If I'm ever in China, I'm not asking anyone's opinion because apparently they will give it to you honestly, and I don't think my ego's ready for that. I already have children to tell me when my butt doesn't look right and stuff. Nope. Sometimes justice for everyone. A husband is forced to compensate his ex-wife for saving her number as chubby in his phone. A Turkish court has ordered a man to pay his ex-wife compensation for both material and moral damages after he saved her number as chubby in his phone's contact list. Now, spouses often come up with nicknames for each other, sometimes more enduring, sometimes more dickish, but rarely do these end up as reasons for divorces. Exceptions do occur, though, as was the case with a Turkish couple who broke up for how the husband had his wife's name saved in his phone. Now, the court of Castellan ruled that the woman should be compensated for being saved as Tombek, which is apparently Turkish for chubby. The nickname came to light during court proceedings as the couple were going through a divorce. The woman claimed that the derogatory name was degrading and damaging to their marital relationship. According to Turkish news outlet Harbinger, the court found the husband at fault for registering his wife as chubby in the divorce case in the city of Yusak and ordered him to pay his former spouse financial compensation. The decision now constitutes legal precedent, so Turkish husbands should really think twice before saving their spouses by nicknames in their phone. The court's ruling in this unusual divorce has sparked a heated social media debate, with some applauding the decision and others claiming that chubby might have been an endearing nickname. Yeah, because, chunkles or thunder thighs just makes my heart pitter-patter. Being chubby isn't bad, and to be called chubby isn't an insult. It can be cute, one person commented. Probably the husband didn't mean it maliciously. I hope the wife didn't take it as such. I'm sorry such small things can send people, even a family member, to jail. Well, he didn't go to jail. He just had to compensate her. He'll go to jail if he doesn't pay it. That being said, just say fluffy. Look, I assure you that this is going to be a real eye-opener, but I assure you, if you are in a fluffier part of life, you do realize that you are fluffy and do not need the eyeballs of anyone else to point out that your fluffy genes are now your everyday genes, okay? Like, we know. You don't need to give us a nickname. We do know. We can tell. Believe me, we notice more than you do. That being said, weight's just one thing, and the one thing that people notice the first thing. It's the outside of the book cover that's easiest to judge. Maybe, instead of judging other people, pay attention to yourself. That being said, if this heifer said, no, it's cute, and then she got him in the divorce because he called her chubby, that being said, seems like they're divorced, so have a fun, happy life without each other. That being said, I'm going to have to change Mr. Mo's nickname in my phone. But we don't live in Turkey. Well, you guys, that's it for today. I'm going to hope it starts getting a little warm because we do have some nice scenery outside. I'm going to start getting glammed up for the whole river dance. And hopefully it'll be warm outside so I can go by our creek and kind of get some fall foliage in there. But if not, green screen it is today, or definitely tomorrow. I'm hoping my legs will wake up. They are not liking this cold snap. I actually had to run to Walmart and get some fire starters because we have turned on the, wood stove already this year. So I am not liking this switch into coldish weather, but it is what it is. Don't forget that tomorrow we have a weekly roundup where Shizzy and I try to make each other laugh, snort laugh, and we generally try to figure out, how and who committed what crime and which is actually convicted. It's going to be a fun Friday. I hope to see you guys there. And if I'm feeling froggy tomorrow, we might watch the Donna Adelson verdict and get all of Dan Markel's family because I do want to get into that. And then we will probably do a Wendy roast because I have a Wendy wig and I can play Wendy. I can write my own book about how I do it like O.J. Simpson. This woman is nuts. The whole Adelson family is nuts. And a flock of thinking enthusiasts, no one can be a mastermind. Change my mind. Remember, you guys, be kind to yourself, be kind to others, but have a sassy, mouth and keep a can of bitch fire because it's too cold out there, y'all. It is just too cold. I'm going to go sit next to the fire. Bye, you guys.